On TKTV today, we have Mvulane Mnisi. He's a radio personality, television personality. He's a historical, cultural activist as well, correct? He's also a father. He's also a family man. He's decided to join us today. How are you, my brother? Are you good?
I'm good. Thabiso Kotane.
Yeah. Looking good, man.
Thabiso Kotane TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You're looking good as well.
Yeah, no. Yeah. You look younger though. You look younger.
No, but I told you, I told you what the trick is for that. Wake up as early as you can.
Yeah.
Just when the sun rises or before.
Yeah.
Take a jog.
Not a walk.
Not a walk.
Oh,
if you want to take a walk, get a companion. Tolanjanya.
I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Big announcement. 3 to 6 on 2000.
Yes, big announcement indeed. I've been with Radio 2000 the past calendar year, 2022, 2023. Initially doing weekend slots, 3 of them. Namely a Friday show that we call Classic Society, a Saturday show called Space and Time, and then a Sunday slot, very late, called Indabayengo. And I think in the past calendar year, that has then somehow resonated in them, asking me to see if it's possible to do the drive time.
What do you think was the motivation? Because these 3 shows, they are specialized in a way. You present them, but the shape and form of these 3 shows are different. And when you think about a drive time show, it is a totally different ball game. So I'm trying to figure out what informs this marriage, if you will.
Yes, staggered shows indeed, even time slots. So we're not talking 3 weekend shows, 1 time slot, per se. One is Classic Society, which engages in classic nostalgic music of yesterday. The other, Space and Time, we sort of choose a year. And musically, we will deliver music that was sort of popular within that particular year, and then have talk around what took place. So it also sort of takes you back nostalgically.
Yeah.
So besides the music, we'll talk about TV programs that we used to watch. Mahama.
Yeah. La Poloja as well.
That was what was on my mind.
Yeah.
So we'll take you there. And then Sunday, very specialized, Indabayengo.
Yes.
Where we explore the music of the continent and the diaspora.
Yeah.
But then within it as well, content will be related around, Africa and the diaspora and the movements thereof.
Are they looking for those elements into the drive time show, or are they looking for something completely different as a package?
I think elements of me and what I'm passionate about really should resonate within the show as well. But a drive time show and say, a breakfast show, there are various elements, that are already sort of on the blueprint that you are forced to follow, more or less.
Yeah.
And there's a lot happening. I mean, you should know, right? But coming from a talk background, I guess you can't even specialize on your very interests.
Yes.
But you must have a wide scope.
Yeah.
But what you're about as well needs to resonate.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's what you truly put
that's my winning ticket as well.
It? Yes.
Yeah, that's my winning ticket.
So we'll try and navigate it, in such a way that some of the elements that I'm known for, that I'm passionate about, still, have those spaces within the show.
Yeah. So what I also find interesting about your career is that it's very rare for anybody to have a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show. Very rare, because radio dictates that the formats are different.
Yeah.
Right? On Friday, maybe Friday and Saturday may be close to each other.
Correct.
But in most cases, there's a different feel to radio on Saturday, and there's a completely different feel to radio on Sunday. But here's one individual who, under normal circumstances, would have had a show that relates to 2 shows, Saturday and Sunday, that speak to the same format. But you've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, totally different products. I find that amazing as well.
I think maybe it's billion experience. But then we'll get there. You know where we come from. And I think through that, I was able to navigate through the 3 shows quite seamlessly. I won't, put myself up on top of the mountain and say, it was easy. But systematically, I had to think about each and every show and how I executed. Because at times, again, I would sound different from Indaba Yengoma and time and space. Because Indaba Yengoma is sort of more specialized. So in projecting and how I give output, it would be different from, say, that space and time, which is 12 to 3 on a Saturday, afternoon. So I think experience also just gave me that headway, for me to execute it quite efficiently. Yeah.
You're keeping the Saturday slot, right?
The Saturday slot we will keep, yes.
On top of the drive.
On top of the drive.
Which is something unusual as well. I mean, it's not, which is something that is just out of the loop in as far as what, the kind of radio formatting that we are used to in most cases.
I think we've seen it where someone does a drive and then you hear them on a Saturday morning doing a top 20 or a top 30 or top 40.
Yeah.
It's happened.
But top of the head, people who are watching us right now, it will be difficult for them to remember who that person is. It has happened before, but what I'm saying is that it is not a usual format on radio as well. So to me, it speaks of probably the confidence that the management at 2000 have in you, to a point where they can risk one individual on a 6-day period in a week. Because like I said, I mean, it's not usual. To what extent does that also bring pressure on yourself as well? Because it must bring it too much pressure.
It does, because, initially when they proposed that, to say, we would also like to keep you for that Saturday slot, I just thought possibly overload. And I had to go and think about it.
Yeah.
I was very outright in saying, listen, I'm going to have to go and consult. Okay, and there'll be time.
Yeah.
You need time.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
For that. And I consulted, thought about it. I came back to them and I said, no, I think we can go ahead. But I mean, what they put forward is that just execution on that particular specialized show on Saturday, they feel we need another season, because somehow, I guess, the growth thereof has been quite pleasing.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah. Plus, I think what you've been doing in the last 12 months also fits into the general programming approach, generally speaking, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and then interestingly as well is that before 2000, there was a bit of a lull in terms of your career in radio from a mainstream point of view. You probably were doing other things, probably trying out other projects. How was that disconnect? How did you adapt in that world of, for a lack of a better description, underground?
I think because at times when you plugged into this, I call it a machine sometimes. It takes you.
Yeah.
It takes you, Thabiso. And I think it was well needed for me, because as soon as I unplugged from the mainstream sort of, it just opened my eyes, to other things that I needed to do, things that I needed to catch up on, ventures, outside of the media scope that I needed to tap myself into and start developing and things of such nature. This machine, it can also change your game.
Yeah.
The person that you are, the essence thereof.
Yeah.
Ubuntu bako.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly in this commercial space.
Yeah.
And it can eat you up.
Yeah.
If you're not careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did that period teach you about people, about the industry, about yourself, and all of that?
It taught me gratitude. It taught me humility. It sort of took me back to realizing who I am and possibly what I am here to do as an individual, in as far as just being a person living and interacting, with those just around me, be it family, be it, friends, Because at times in this commercial thingy, you know, even families and, you know, close friends, you are regarded as this entity.
The guy who must be the MC.
Yes,
even
but
when
no, baby shower.
Mvulane uzoba MC.
Mvulane uzodlala. And socialize. So it just taught me that, just the essence of and that's the greatest thing I can take from it. It taught me to connect more, especially sort of with family.
Yeah.
Because you're not busy running around like a headless chicken.
Yeah.
You know, trying to do this gig. You know, trying to get you know, a booking for that event or whatever the case is.
And you get less calls.
The sense of peace is beautiful. It's something that I cherish.
But here's the reality, though. I mean, a lot of young people grew up listening to you on YFM. A lot of people watched you on television, right? What was that space like for you?
That space was exciting, I must say. We were still youngsters.
Yeah.
Hungry.
Yeah.
Not only for fame, but for me, I think I fell in love with this medium and I wanted to prosper.
Yeah.
So I wanted to evolve with it.
Yeah.
To a certain degree. So as soon as that era sort of kicked in, here was an opportunity. Here is, you know, an entity which is outside of the SABC. SABC had always been sort of a monopoly on urban youth radio. And we had to get in there, you know, as the team and really show up, you know, to ourselves and the audience that we are quite capable, you know. So it was a challenge, I think, for all of us. And that translated sort of onto the TV gigs. Although I started off with television anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, it translated, you know, to that as well. So commercially, you know, it just took one to, I guess, levels that one had never sort of considered.
Yeah. Big responsibility as well, because I mean, you did popular shows. You did that rap activity jam thing with Mosquito, wasn't it?
Yes.
Very popular guy at the time. Very popular. You also became the editor of Y Mag, which was quite huge. I mean, you know, being an editor of a magazine at that time was a big thing. Managing content and very young as well. You know, take us through the emotions as you recall now in terms of navigating. You had a social life as well, where you had to be seen in certain places and certain events. You had friends who you grew up with, I suppose, in Katlehong there, whom you wanted to demonstrate that they are still your boys, you know. Just because I remember you used to walk around with some of them, you know, Yeovil and all over the place type of a situation. Yeah, absolutely, which is important. You know what I mean? So what was that era like?
Yeah.
In terms of balance, you know?
Yeah. I guess as much as, you know, commercially, you know, one was catapulted to a point where, you know, you're becoming some sort of, celebrity, whatever.
Yeah, well, it is celebrity. Don't brush it off. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, then there came a point where there was a level of responsibility now that was bestowed upon one. Namely, as you say, Y-Mag editor. I remember Kim Tip and Dirk Hartford, you know, they approached me to say, in fact, Dirk, to say, brother, listen, you know we've got this entity here, and whatever. And in the beginning, the likes of Spoo Numa.
Yes, yes, I remember Spoo,
They were heading that. And Spoo really, as a big brother, very instrumental in sort of guiding me. Besides Rap Activity Jam, I had a talk show that we called Youth Crossfire.
Yes.
And then I started dabbling in those, and Spoo would take me by the hand. We would go to various, you know, political, you know, scenes and whatever the case is with a recorder. So I started learning, you know, from that. besides just doing my show. And there came a point where Spusiso left, and Dirk said to me, listen, we'd like you to come up front. Yeah. And I initially said no to Dirk, and then he sent Kim Tipe, who was our marketing manager,
yes, at
Wi-Fi, to come and speak to Mam Tipe. We always, looked at her as, like Umdala. And she really just sort of worked on me, because I really didn't think I was ready for it. But I think I had, the guidance to just take me through in as far as magazine publication is concerned. So I was thrown into the deep end, yes, but I learned so much. And I think my understanding and my passions in what I do sort of translated into the magazine as well. They opened up those, the likes of Credo Mutu. We went to his, homestead, Henops River, which is where he was staying, in a small holding, things like that. We got in writers, Obongani Madondo.
Yes.
Who are very
absolutely
prolific with pen and pad.
Yeah.
So I just started now just gaining, that confidence, and we really pushed the bar.
And you also did music at the time.
Yes. I did a bit of music. It was busy.
Yeah, no. You also did music. What happened to the music part of your life?
We have Azanye and Pulse, first offering, second offering. The first offering was basically just a remix project where we took existing songs, Ozemnawane or Omambusi Mhlongo, and we remixed them. And the thought process was that this is good South African music.
Yeah.
We want to infiltrate this and push this towards the youth that I'm broadcasting to sort of teach.
I see what you mean, yeah.
Because this piece is quiet on a house, cool at that point in time. And the thought process was that let's engage, because I had started going to jazz concerts. I had started going to Melville, to see Ozimnawane sort of like play, or Hugh Masekela. Kipis was on the run as well.
Yes.
And we would go there.
Yeah.
And so the thought process was, let's engage the youth, man, into this music, because surely these prolific musicians need to pass on the baton. And that was the first project. The second offering, was really now doing a self-produced project, but also now using these artists, such as Umambusi Mhlongo. I got to work with Ubabu Mabito Bejani for about 2 years. He was an integral part of the Azanyan Pulse project, second offering, with just lending that element of the journey in there. And then we got to tour the world with him and doing various festivals in Europe and Asia as a duo. So he would play the drums, I would play the music on the turntable. As far as Vietnam, we would go and play. So a very busy time. But then again, I was learning. Because sitting with this man like on the plane and whatever, and just sort of watching him. And I always talk about this, doing a sound check somewhere in Germany. He would hold out, his metal ball, on the plane. I can remove. I choose them back, and the sound guy right there at the end is, something's burning. So he wants to call the fire car, extinguishers. And these African things that we're doing, we're doing rituals. So don't be afraid.
So I mean, my advantage is that I've known you for quite a while.
Yes.
I've known you since, when was it, 96, 97? And even when you and I disconnected, but I've always had a connection with you. I've always seen your evolution in terms of your career, right? And what fascinates me is that when I first met you, I just saw a punk. I'm a punker, guys. You had that weird hairstyle.
You're my man.
Yeah, and you had that yo thing.
Yes.
And you had this cheese boy demeanor about you. I mean, I remember I used to tease you. Somebody from your family used to bring you samosas for lunch at Voice of Soweto.
Yeah.
Every day, lunch.
Okay.
No. And I was like, this guy, who the hell is this guy? And you drove an Uno. You had a car. I think you were one of the few people.
I had a small red Uno,
but look, you had a car.
Yes.
Right? And you were into hip hop as well, you know? But as time went on, I saw this guy who's an African orientated, spiritually orientated type of a guy. A guy who gravitated towards the serious part of the arts, right? The intellectual side of the arts, you know, the Zimnawanas and all of these people, you know? At the time when you were very young, even when you were doing Gem Early, which was super cheesy. But no, absolutely. But off camera, you know, you then aligned yourself with this serious intellectual aspect of the arts. And you're still carrying it through even today, which to me says, you know, this is who this guy is in so many ways. But I wonder where it comes from.
Yeah, it comes from the home base. You know,
yeah.
Uncles, very instrumental. My father, you know, who has passed, was very busy. Entrepreneur, you know, business guy. But the uncles were always around. Now, uncles, reggae.
Yeah.
Listening to Mutabaruka,
Felt. Yeah.
You know, not even like Bob Marley.
Yeah.
I'm listening to Burning Spear.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sitting there.
Yeah.
You know, with either or of the uncles.
Yeah.
The other one is a poet, is a writer.
Yeah.
You know, he writes on the back of one of the cartons that's a cigarette.
Yeah.
He would tear off like a piece and then start writing things. And then he'd give it to me and say, go and read. And then tomorrow when we meet, translate what you take from there.
Yeah.
I've still got those things.
Wow, that's nice.
At home. So like how Mo Pendula.
Yeah. Wow, that's nice.
That's
nice. Yeah.
And he'd write on the back of those things, you know, sort of powerful poems, you know, that relate to Abo Babu Credo Mutwa.
Yeah.
Marcus.
I see.
Things like that.
I see.
So
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then he would take it a step further. He would write a paragraph.
Yeah.
Right? And then leave the second paragraph and write the third paragraph and say, in between here, you write.
Yeah.
So now I'm acquainting myself with this, you know, with this poetry. I'm getting interested. The next day we meet, I'm asking, who's Credo?
Yeah.
Who's, you know, who's Sangha?
Yes.
And stuff like that. And then he explains.
Yeah.
So by the time he leaves that gap between the first and second paragraph, I'm able now to write. And now I'm going to libraries. I'm acquiring this.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to.
How old are you at that time?
I'm 14, 15, 16.
14, 15, 16. Yeah. And then you come to the Voice of Soweto, and you were not supposed to be there. Right?
Yeah,
because you didn't come from Soweto, right? In the first place. Yeah, no, I think if there's one person that made sure that you are there was Mpumi. Yeah, no, Mpumi Kotane.
Oh, Kotane.
Yes, because Mpumi, you and Mpumi are related, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it was Mpumi.
But Mpumi was not there.
No, Mpumi was there. No. Mpumi was the administrator, I'm telling you. That's the first time I met Mpumi. I met Mpumi at Voice of Soweto when we were doing auditions. Yeah. Right?
And then I told her what you mean.
Yes, and then she was like, who the hell are you? You know? Yeah, but I remember she was the one who was always saying, no, this thing, this guy, you know, won't cut it. I mean, he's here now, you know? type of a situation. How did that happen?
Listen, I came in for an audition, Thabiso, of the back of Isowetan. I saw the advert. And before that, by the way, I had worked on a TV production, Ecovision. Which was,
I remember Ecovision, yes.
Which was a youth environment program. Sort of like 50-50.
I remember it,
but you know, the young ones. And that's where, like, it's meganyana, so
so bakubhayelang edladleni.
Ngasebenza Ecovision.
Okay. Mina ngithi bakunika yona but
ngabathola lapha basebenza khona
I remember. Yeah.
So I was working.
Yeah.
So my weekend, Saturday, Sunday, we would shoot because we would shoot outside. We didn't have a studio. So we'd shoot outside in nature.
I remember that, yeah.
So by the time in Figa, at Voice of Soweto, really there was a little bit, you know, like in my pocket where I was able to at least acquire the Lengudla Mashat.
Oh, that's where this Samusa thing came from.
I guess. I guess. So I came in, I auditioned, Thabiso. Remember Leo was there.
Yeah.
Mvulane Kotane.
Yeah.
And I left. I had a pager as well. And I got a message on the pager. Would I not call back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember. I remember.
And then I called back and they said, you know, call back, we'd like to see you. And then now here starts a conversation to say, listen, we're interested in what you're doing and what you can do.
Yeah.
Ushaka highway.
Katlo.
And I knew that would be a problem. And I could have lied. Or whatever. But I mean, it would have come out. So I had to be outright and say, no, but I love this movie.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to be given an opportunity.
Yeah.
And then we left it at that amongst many other questions. And lo and behold, I got that.
Yeah. Do you think it was the beginning of more bigger things to come as a result of where you sit in today?
I think so. Because even though I did television, I would spend evenings, you know, as a young one, listening to Radio Bob.
Yeah.
You know, Mam Shadu you know. And there was just something special.
Who was that one person that made you go, you know what? I'm going to be on radio and I'm going to sound like this guy or this lady. Or Teach Me Tess.
There was just something about that gentleman. And I hear he still broadcasts. I mean, he's back in Zimbabwe. But Usasagas, there was just something about his energy, his approach to this thing called the microphone.
Yeah.
It's almost like, man, they got hair.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. He had that, if it's hot, drop it, type of a thing.
Yeah.
And
if it's hot,
drop it. Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember that. Pace, personality, and all of that.
The energy. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, that's good, man. So it's a different environment in the radio landscape today. I mean, when you and I started, there was this thing called auditions, right? And you go there, you audition, right? But today it seems as if the approach is different. You know, even when you'd go for an audition, you get shortlisted and you get interviewed by a panel, right? In the past,
that callback.
Yeah. So today people come in and out as a result of being put in there by individuals, right? Do you think, you know, the essence, the content, the growth is there, or do you think we're still stuck somewhere in the middle?
I think it's taken a turn. I mean, you remember, you'd be walking into the music room, you know, somewhere, and there was always like that box of demos.
Yeah.
You know. So it would either be, you know, those demos that you've submitted, and then you'd get a call when they're looking for people.
Yeah.
And you would indeed come in and audition in a backup studio.
Yeah.
Or whatever the case is, so they
Yeah.
can get a sense. These days, it doesn't happen. And of course, it's been the rhetoric. You know, my followers and my social media network and things of such nature. It no longer becomes like a serious craft.
Yeah.
It's almost just saying people love you.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Because you've got 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Followers.
Come through.
So they will like you. Come through, sit here and just do you.
Yeah.
But there are systematic things within broadcasting, you know, there are 101s that you have to know in order to navigate your space. Quite clearly. And I appreciate anyone who is, you know, reeled in because they have 1.5 million. But then they are able to assert themselves to understanding this medium, and you are able to see that they are taking the initiative to sort of grow themselves within it.
Any youngster who fascinates you on radio today?
At the moment?
Yeah.
I'm an old school cat. I'm an old school cat. But I mean, there are some, you know, who are coming from, I don't want to name names, who are coming from, especially the campus radio fraternity. I think that are doing great things and they're really asserting themselves. There's producers as well, like in the background, that we hardly ever pay due, you know, due respect to. Who work very hard and are passionate about this medium. So yes, I believe, you know, your UJs, there's the Pretoria campus radio as well, you know, that are really churning out individuals, you know, that are quite passionate about the medium and have got a scope to sort of widen their expertise within it, which is very progressive.
Let's talk about something exciting as well. Your podcast, House of Sankofa. Amazing.
Yeah, but we can talk about what we do.
No. No. You know what he's talking about? We used to, when we started on air, because we didn't have space. We were not allocated shows. So what happened was that they gave us the news. So we co-read the news. I used to whip his ass. So you've got four stories. Well, one reads the first one, he reads the second, the third. By the time I go first, I'm like super smooth, and he's already panicking. And I would finish him off afterwards. But that was nice, though. That was nice.
That's an untruth because you know. Because what we used to do is, it used to be competition based. So every top of the hour, do you know your stories? Can you read them seamlessly?
Yeah.
And then it was like, first story, okay, Tata Kotane. And then it comes back to me. Miss, what can you do? It was healthy competition, and I loved it because somehow it just grew us, you know, within that, you know, to say, we are taking this thing seriously.
Absolutely.
And it was comfortable sort of, competition, so to speak.
Yeah. And I also think that it helps us to carve our own path.
Yes.
You know, to say, is this really my thing? Nah, maybe it's not. But for me, I knew from that point on that it was my thing. You know what I mean? Type of a thing. But let's talk about House of Sankofa. Beautiful as well. You spoke to Ntate Kaifasimiya. Not everybody gets that much time. But take us through the whole idea behind your podcast, House of Sankofa.
Yeah, I mean, that podcast, I think it comes at the right time, you know, and really, I think it's a platform where talking about my passions and my being, I'm able, you know, it's an outlet, you know, for me to deliver my things and how I view and see them. So the podcast has been sort of long in preparation, you know, for it to actually kick off. And the thought process, House of Sankofa, being able to go back and retrieve so that we move forward in life. It's a Ghanaian, term that they use, Sankofa. And initially, that's what I do. I like to go back and retrieve. And hence, you talk about Kaifasimiya.
Yeah.
I was able to sit down with the elder. And I felt so humbled that he actually gave me the time.
Yeah, no, very lucky. And too much time for that matter.
I could not believe it.
Yeah.
And so it just becomes that chat, you know, that you would have even with your elder, even with an elder of mine, say, in the Eastern Cape or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some wisdom, some knowledge, you know. And I think that the space opens up in that. I also navigate through music within the platform. Thabiso Kotane been there, Omsaki, also Imudiha, Yonela Mnana, who's visually impaired, a pianist, prolific. We get into some poetry as well. Abudi. Makafula Filagas.
Yes.
So it sort of embraces all the elements.
It's beautiful.
That I'm basically sort of passionate about. Yeah.
Who do you confide in? Personal stuff.
Yeah.
Is it yourself? Is it your wife? Is it your brother?
Of that, my mother.
Oh, your mother. Yeah. Mrs. Mnisi, I hope you're not watching this.
You know, because I've gotten to a point where I can talk to her about anything. I mean, my father passed away at a very young age. I think I was about 15 or so, 16. So there's been that gap. Ninja of Gazi, you know, always, you know, has been there and was able, you know, to stand and keep it going, you know.
Yeah.
And therefore, you know, we then, you know, at that point, you know, started just dialoguing about the way forward.
Yeah.
What it is I want to do, how I want to achieve it, and things like that. In every element.
Yeah.
So it became a point where she now becomes that outlet. You know?
Just as a last question, I mean, is there an individual that you wish people knew about, whether it's a historical figure, whether it's someone in the internet, you know, someone that you would wish that young people or all of us in the country would know about? Credo.
I mean, as early as me being editor of Wine magazine, we went to Henop's and we sat there for about 6-7 hours with him. And just him, just lay. I must look for those tapes because back then were little recorders.
I remember, yes.
Yeah. But I almost came out of there a new man.
Yeah. You must have been hurt because when he died, nobody was taking him seriously. Nobody took at him. Nobody made an effort. He died alone in most cases. Remember even one of his children was even saying, look, you know, people don't pick up our calls anymore when we look for help. That for me, I think, was an injustice. And there are so many of you guys who talk about him. I was even saying this, I think, to Mandula. Guys, I mean, this is somebody that inspired you. You know, you still have a chance to honor and remember him. But when he passed on, I mean, where were your emotions at that stage?
Yeah, you know, he's always said that himself. He believes.
Cast.
He was booted out, you know, of Soweto.
Yeah.
Through false information.
Yeah, Helen Zille.
Yeah. He went to Mahikeng. At some point, he was booted out of there, you know, through false information. He landed up like Henops, you know, where more or less, and then obviously off to Northern Cape, Kuruma. So he bore the burden throughout his life of being ridiculed, as you say. But then he was still willing to open up, you know, and in segments tell his story. Some exploited him. You know, there would be writers coming through from, you know, the US and Europe to sit there and record him and then go and write books. And they would not even credit him, you know, and the knowledge thereof that he's opening up to. So I think more than that, because Isanusi, he understands those elements. Now, Isanusi, you know, it means utwase multiple times and in various points within the continent. So I think more than anything, spiritually, it drove him to not just let the messages,
So he understood the space he was in.
He understood the space, and he recognized, okay, this is what's happening. But where I can find time and acceptance, I will say what I need to say. And some things, he never really sort of just opened up to. He's got some predictions, that are just mind-blowing. I was at the Credomutwa village, which is in atrocious condition. You go there and it's sad. But while there's still something going on, there are guides there. There's a picture he painted in 1973 there. Skyscrapers, sort of cars hovering.
9/11.
Yeah. And it's 9/11, that he talked about within 1973, Kotane.
Yeah.
And you look at this picture, and it's still that picture. And you think, I call.
Yeah.
Just to foresee that. And, he's drawn and painted, cars that hover.
Yeah.
At that point. So looking into the future. And yes, indeed, when you look at that, you can get a sense of what this man is gifted.
Yeah. Well, my brother, thank you so much and good luck with your show. Do you have a name yet for the show, The Drive?
Yes, it's the Drive Connection.
Drive Connection.
Yeah. I remember Unkombile uti ginga iwe stuff.
Yeah, so hey, between 3 and 6. No, you are looking at 1. Siyabonga baba. Bye-bye.